Hello there. I come from the land of Tyler Perry, Mardi Gras, and Addison Rae. How is it this cold? Like, I expect it to be back melting hot in the summer, but why is it this cold? There's not even any snow! Now, I could light a fire, but I also don't trust myself to light a candle in the house without burning the house down, much less a fireplace, so that's gonna be a no-go. I know! Why don't I distract myself from the miserable cold by watching a classic Christmas movie? Good, but nah. Fantastic, but not this year. How white do you think I am? Screw it, why not?
It's the holiday season, and Santa Claus. No! The Christmas time is one of giving, of receiving, of spending time with friends and family, of having fear and dread about what the new year will bring and what you actually accomplished in the last 300 plus days of your life. Oh, and Hollywood likes to release movies around this time, I guess. Christmas movies really only have like one goal beyond just having a good story: to put you in a holly jolly spirit. Good Christmas movies accomplish that in flying colors, and bad Christmas movies?
Why do you think I'm in therapy?
There are tons of classic Christmas movies. Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life, A Christmas Story, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Can this debate die hard, please? There are some more underrated Christmas movies like Arthur Christmas and Klaus. There's this movie that isn't really a good movie, but it's dumb fun, so I don't care. There's the bad Christmas movies, but this is a holly jolly video, so we're not gonna focus on that. But the biggest Christmas conundrum of a movie for me is The Polar Express. This movie is like everyone's childhood Christmas movie, and I think people think of it more fondly as a child than they would now because it's a very strange movie. So how can I tie talking about this movie in with having a social experience tonight as well?
I have an idea. I can talk about this movie, and then I have a party where I have all my friends over, and I can actually have fun! And send. Well, I've got enough time between now and then. Let's get the holly jollies onward.
The Polar Express is a 2004 animated Christmas fantasy adventure film directed by Robert Zemeckis. You know, the guy behind the Back to the Future trilogy, and Forrest Gump, and Castaway, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Unholy Terrors Beyond Our Comprehension. He even directed another similarly animated Christmas movie with the 2009 Jim Carrey Christmas Carol. He wrote the movie alongside William Broyles Jr., and the movie was based on the 1985 kids book of the same name by Chris Van Allsburg. This movie's unique animation style utilized something called motion capture, which is basically recording the movement of people and objects and then turning them into animation. Now, since this was 2004, the motion capture doesn't quite hold up.
That's an understatement.
But this movie's budget was $165 to $170 million, making it the most expensive animated movie of its time. The movie is iconic for having Tom Hanks play a lot of characters.
Tom Hanks the movie. There, we got the most overdone joke about this movie out of the way.
This movie has gone on to become a Christmas classic, but is it really deserving of that title? Let's find out, shall we? We start off with our protagonist, Hero Boy, sleeping in his room on Christmas Eve as his parents come in to check on him. His father is Tom Hanks' character number 1. So yeah, barring a couple of characters, no one in this movie has a real name. It's established that this boy doesn't really believe in Santa in an intro that feels much longer than it actually is. How is this only 5 minutes long?
You know, maybe the people who say I'm overly negative about stuff have a point. Nah.
Suddenly, our protagonist's room starts to shake violently as he rushes outside to see that the titular Polar Express has arrived outside of his house. I feel like I'd be as speechless as him if this giant train just appeared in front of my house one day. Or night. Then we meet the conductor, Tom Hanks' character number 2. The boy asks where the train is going and...
Why, to the North Pole, of course! This is...
Okay, calm down. I was asking a question. Jeez.
The boy denies wanting to go on the train, but once the train actually starts going, he has a change of heart and jumps on. He walks in and we meet our other major characters of the movie, like Hero Girl and... Know-it-all.
Look, I know Nathaniel Bandy looks like him, but if I see one joke about that in the comments, I will find where you live, break into your room, and shake my finger angrily at you.
This kid is gonna get on my nerves real quick. They pass by a Christmas store and we get shown once more how the hero boy doesn't really believe in Santa. I kinda like these bits. It's not completely shoved into your face, but it's shown enough for you to get the point. The conductor comes around to snip everyone's ticket and they stop at this kid named Billy's house.
Finally, a character with a name!
He hesitates like Hero Boy, but also like Hero Boy, he changes his mind right as the train is leaving. The kids scramble to stop the train and end up pulling the emergency brake. Billy gets on and the conductor comes in.
Who in the blazes applied that emergency brake?
I've never been on a train like this. Do all conductors sound this angry all the time? The conductor loses it towards our hero boy, but hero girl defends him by saying how Billy wanted to get on. The children are ordered to sit down as we get arguably one of the most iconic scenes of the movie. The Hot Chocolate song. This song is catchy and all, but I can't get over how these guys look like mannequins. Maybe that was intentional, maybe it's an animation problem, maybe it's both.
To be honest with you, it's probably both.
After the song, the girl decides to bring a snuck-away cup of hot chocolate to the lonely boy over there. She and the conductor bring it over to him, but Hero Boy notices that her ticket wasn't checked. So instead of waiting for them to return like a normal person, he decides to go over to them and ends up losing the ticket. We then get this ridiculously long montage of the ticket flying away that feels like it was just put in here just to show off the animation before it ends up back in the train. The conductor finds out that the girl lost her ticket and brings her outside the train. The boy nearly stops the train again, but he ends up finding the ticket inside the vent. He goes outside to find them and Billy tells him that they're on the roof. So he goes up and part of me believes that you should be flying off the train right now, but maybe that's just me. He ends up meeting Tom Hanks' character number 3, Hobo. They talk about how Hero Boy wants to believe in Santa, but he doesn't want to look like an idiot as well. I think thematically this movie is really good.
Just wish the plot and characters were as good.
The hobo walks away and disappears and our boy starts to think he's dreaming. I think you're dreaming too, because there's no way that snow is saving you from getting flung off the train. He tries to wake himself up before the hobo appears again and skis with the boy to the front of the train. Gravity does not work like it should in this movie. The boy ends up falling into some coal as it's revealed that the girl is now driving the train while the engineers fix a light bulb.
Why y'all had to get here via the roof baffles me, and if it's because you can't get to the front of the train without going on top of the roof, then whoever designed this is a moron. Why am I questioning this is hard?
The girl shows the boy all the mechanics of the train before the engineers urge them to stop. The boy applies the brakes to let a herd of caribou pass. They make them go away by constantly pulling on this guy's beard. Physical abuse is always funny, kids. Once they get back on the move on, the throttle handle's cutter pin comes loose and falls off, making the train go fast. They also happen to be going on this roller coaster of tracks, and the animation really does make this look like I'm on a roller coaster.
So that's why my heart rate's going up gradually.
Oh, and then they come across a part of the track covered in ice.
Y'all go through this many setbacks on a normal year, or...
They end up getting the train to stop after like 50 events where these three should 1000% be dead. But then the ice starts to break and they manage to barely get across after all this insanity. The girl finally gets her ticket snipped.
Remember that? Neither did I.
The conductor talks about how in one of his first years of doing this, he fell off but was saved by what might have been an angel. Then they go through this carriage full of like broken toys that looks like something out of FNAF. Suddenly, this Scrooge doll appears controlled by the hobo, Tom Hanks' character number 4, Shut Up He Counts, and scares this poor kid to death. The Polar Express, a fun and whimsical Christmas adventure for the whole family to enjoy. Also, it'll give your kids nightmares. Once he escapes, this little nerd appears and starts to make my blood pressure rise again. Then he finds the girl and they see Billy singing. Then we get this really great musical number with some great vocals from these kids who are not the actual voice actors. They are someone else singing. And after all of this, we have finally made it to the North Pole.
It's about time.
All of the kids get off, but Billy stays inside. These two try to convince him to go, casually enforcing your own views on stuff on others. What great messaging movie. But Hero Boy accidentally uncouples the back carriage from the rest of the train and it ends up going on another falling trip. This movie has this weird obsession with roller coaster looking action scenes. Of course this was released in 3D.
If y'all ever want me to throw up watching a movie, make me watch this in 3D. Don't do that, please.
The hobo shows up once again for absolutely no reason. Somehow they end up in Santa's workshop. They walk around and find where the nices and the naughties are determined. They end up following this machine that leads to another roller coaster section. Jesus, the animation looks rough here. They end up in the gift wrapping section where they find a present for Billy over here. He can't open it until Christmas morning, so he tries to run away with it before we get, oh, you have got to be kidding me.
This is just motion sickness at this point.
The trio ends up in Santa's bag of presents where they run into, oh, for God's sake. Hey kids, do me a favor, pick him up and just throw him down to the floor below. No one will miss him. So they arrive in the center of town and the bag knocks down the star. It's like everything that could go wrong tonight does go wrong tonight. The kids get brought down from the bag and the big man and his reindeer finally arrive. The elves make it to where the boy cannot see Santa, but suddenly one of the reindeer bells comes loose and falls towards the boy. He tries to shake it, but he can't hear until he says how he believes. Then Tom Hanks' character number 5, Santa Claus, appears. He comes around to the main four. Jesus, this man is tall. He picks our boy to be the first kid who chooses his gift, and he whispers about wanting to keep the bell for Christmas. I think this is where the movie thematically peaks. All throughout the movie, our protagonist has been dealing with the question of whether Santa is real or not. He goes through so many trials to see if he really believes. And him finding it within his heart to believe in it and finally hearing the bell ring, it's so good!
Just wish he had a little more depth to him, but you get what you get and you don't throw a fit on Christmas, right?
Santa flies off, the elves fix up the end train carriage, and the kids each get something snipped into their ticket. As they're about to leave, the boy realizes he put the bell in his pocket with a hole in it, so he lost the bell. The kids scramble to find it, but then the train starts to get going.
Is this train systematically machined to start at the absolute worst possible time?
Billy arrives home first, and we see Santa got him his present beforehand. Our protagonist gets off next, says goodbye to his friends and the conductor, and returns to his bed. He wakes up on Christmas morning, and he finds that Santa ended up giving him his bell for a present. The children can hear it, but the parents can't because they don't believe. I can't get over how good this movie is thematically. Over time, the sister can't hear the bell, but the boy, now grown up, still can. And then, credits.
Okay, how do I say what I want to say without making people who haven't seen this movie in 10 years angry?
This movie, in my opinion, is a mixed bag. To get my negatives out of the way, the plot and characters kinda suck. And no, the characters don't suck because they have no names. I just find a lot of them to be kinda meh. This little weasel can burn for all I care. The plot is a mixed bag for me. There are some really amazing moments, like the kids singing in the back of the train and the hero boy finally believing. But there's also just a lot of stupid slapstick that brings it down for me. The pacing is just weird. It's like a lot of stuff happens in this movie, but like it feels like the pacing kind of rushes through it just to get to the next set piece. The animation can be really good, and it can also be really bad. But this was motion capture back in like 2004, so I'll give it a pass. Okay, let me talk about what I like. The score by Alan Silvestri is just incredible. The lighthearted Christmas tone is something that will never not make me smile, so this movie is basically emotionally manipulating me to enjoy it. And the thematic messaging is easily my favorite part of the movie. The boy's journey of learning to find it within himself to believe is so well handled, and that climax with the bell is just great, man. Overall, this movie has its strong points. It's just got a lot of stuff bringing it down for me calling it truly good. It balances out to being an alright 6 out of 10. Sure, why not? But, is it deserving of its Christmas classic title? Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, time to see if anyone's coming to my Christmas party. Sorry, spending time with the fam, can't make it. Have something going on, sorry. I've got something planned, maybe next year. Well, you know, not everyone responded to the email. I mean, maybe just give a bit of time. Hey, crewmate.
Oh, hey Ben. What are you doing over here? Don't you have a party going on soon?
Well, looks like that's not going to be happening this year. Besides, no one deserves to be alone Christmas Eve. Say, you want to watch a Christmas movie?
Sure, let's watch Home Alone.
That's my space son.